Hello there, my fellow Nigerians.
People are dying in Kano metropolis despite.
I am recording this video.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, my friends in Nigeria, to my African brothers and sisters in Africa and in the diaspora. You're welcome once again to Matters Arising by Ayodada. I'm sure you guys are keeping safe and staying safe. COVID-19 is real. Please let us be careful. Please let us adhere to the rules and the laws that have been laid down at this time so that we do not spread this deadly disease. Any sort of spread, any kind of spread in Africa will be disastrous. So please let each and every one of us take this very seriously and let us educate those around us that do not really understand what this is, that they need to adhere to the law put in place by the government of each and every state. I would like to plead with my brothers and sisters across Africa, those in Africa and those in the diaspora, to please watch this video. Watch it, watch it, watch it. I'm sure many of you have seen it before, but we need to watch it over and over to get it into our consciousness, into our minds, so that we can make Africa a much better place, a paradise for Africa and the rest of the world. Everybody is clamoring for change. We all want change. We all want to change. We're quick to blame the government. We're quick to point fingers. But change must start with us. We are the problem. Our leadership reflects us, the citizens. So if we want to start to make a change, start by watching this video. And after watching this video, pass it on. Pass it on, pass it on, spread it till it reaches those in power. We must begin to get this idea into the consciousness of everyone in power. We all want to change, but the change must start with us. One of the ways we can actually start changing is by changing our mindset, is by changing our views about ourselves, is by changing our views about others, is by changing our behaviors consciously. So my suggestion this morning is this video I'm about to show. It's a video that one should never be tired of watching. Actually, it's a video I would suggest or advise our leaders from the federal level, from the presidency, down to the local government chairman, at their cabinet meetings, at their council meetings, at the executive meetings, in the state houses of assembly and the senate, federal houses of assembly and senate. They must watch this video across Africa. They must watch it before the commencement of such meetings. And you will see the reason why I am actually making this suggestion. Please share this video. So therefore, we cannot assume that everybody knows what they need to do, what their rights are, or whatnot. And I'm going to play this video right now.
One thing that keeps me puzzled, despite having studied finance and economics at the world's best universities, the following question remains unanswered. Why is it that 5,000 units of our currency is worth 1 unit of your currency, where we are the ones with the actual gold reserves? It's quite evident that the aid is in fact not coming from the West to Africa, but from Africa to the Western world. The Western world depends on Africa in every possible way, since alternative resources are scarce out here. So how does the West ensure that the free aid keeps coming? By systematically destabilizing the wealthiest African nations and their systems, and all that backed by huge PR campaigns, leaving the entire world under the impression that Africa is poor and dying and merely surviving on the mercy of the West. Well done, Oxfam, UNICEF, Red Cross, Life Aid, and all the other organizations that continuously run multi-million-dollar advertisement campaigns depicting charity porn to sustain that image of Africa globally. Ad campaigns paid for by innocent people under the impression to help with their donations. While one hand gives under the flashing lights of cameras, the other takes in the shadows. We all know the dollar is worthless, while the euro is merely charged with German intellect and technology, and maybe some Italian pasta. How can one expect donations from nations that have so little? It's super sweet of you to come with your colored paper in exchange for our gold and diamonds. But instead, you should come empty-handed, filled with integrity and honor. We want to share with you our wealth and invite you to share with us. The perception is that a healthy and striving Africa would not disperse its resources as freely and cheaply, which is logical. Of course, it would instead sell its resources at world market prices, which in turn would destabilize and weaken Western economies, established on the post-colonial free meal system. Last year, the IMF reports that 6 out of 10 of the world's fastest growing economies are in Africa, measured by their GDP growth. The French Treasury, for example, is receiving about $500 billion year in, year out, foreign exchange reserves from African countries based on colonial debt they forced them to pay. Former French President Jacques Chirac stated in an interview recently that we have to be honest and acknowledge that a big part of the money in our banks comes precisely from the exploitation of the African continent. In 2008, he stated that without Africa, France will slide down in the rank of a third world power. This is what happens in the human world, the world we have created. Have you ever wondered how things work in nature? One would assume that in evolution the fittest survives. However, in nature, any species that is overhunting, overexploiting the resources they depend on as nourishment, natural selection would sooner or later take the predator out because it offsets the balance.
So once again, if you like what Matters Arising stands for, we're trying to make a better Africa, a better Nigeria for everyone, for every citizen of that continent. We need to know that we're not a poor continent, that we are a rich continent. We just need to get our thinking right, to get the right leadership. And to, in the words of Robert Nesta Marley, popularly known as Bob Marley, we have to emancipate our minds, emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can do it. So if you like what we stand for, Please subscribe to this channel. Matters are rising. Your support is needed. We have to make our countries, our continent, a better one. We cannot afford to be losing our lives on the boats when we're trying to escape from Africa. We cannot allow ourselves to be enslaved again when we get to our destinations when we get to our destinations, whereby we're walking under the table for peanuts, running helter-skelter. Thank you for listening. God bless you. God bless Nigeria. And God bless Africa.